We go ahead and call the meeting to order. Mike may be late, but we'll get started without him. Call the FARGODOME Authority October 29th to order.
Try to finish without him.
First order of business would be to approve the agenda, which is before you. Is there any changes or additions to the agenda?
Move to approve.
Motion from Mr. Supis.
Second.
Second from Blake. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Next would be approval of minutes from the September 24th. Start on page 1 of your packet. Take a moment to review those.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Motion from Blake,
Yeah, but I wasn't here, so I think.
All right, I'll second.
second from David.
My turn, but I passed.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Old business, is there any old business? Hearing none. New business, turn over to Rob for the general manager's report.
All right, we'll start on page 4, which is the financials for the month of September. As always, the month of September is on the left-hand side of the sheet. The year-to-date for the 9 months ending September 30th are on the right-hand side of the page. Excuse me, I apologize. For the month of September, we had 9 events with attendance of just over 56,700. We had total event income of just over 319,700, or about 7,400 above budget. We had indirect expenses of 436,300, so we were about $35,500 dollars above budget on the indirect expenses. However, and that reflected in the net surplus for the month. We still have a surplus of just over 16,100. However, that is about 25,000 below the budgeted $41,000 budget. On the event side, it breaks out Bob Seeger, great show, good attendance, high per caps for about 26,000 above budget. That event with 2 NDSU football games, good attendance, consistent with 2018. The per caps are a little bit lower than budget, so that combines up to that, and I think parking was a little bit down as well. On the amateur side, 2 Fargo North High School football games that were not budgeted. One was pretty much just a break even or maybe a slight loss. The other one, that's when Dickinson was in town, so obviously not a lot of people. The other game was against West Fargo Cheyenne, which brings a lot of people, so that was fairly successful for a one-off football game, as they played a couple of September games here while their football turf was being installed. And then Lisbon Youth Football was a little higher than budget as well. On the expense side, labor was about 7,000 over budget. More of a timing thing with purchasing some more stuff, more items for the Excellence in Service program. Operations was about $20,000 above budget. Higher equipment expense, that's that $12,000+ or so of equipment purchases that have been put in for equipment purchases or repairs. Put in as an insurance claim with XL Energy with those issues we were having back late July and August. We'll see what happens with that. But also one of our big sewage ejection pumps went down, so that's about a $5,700 pump that needed to be replaced. Steam, September was a little colder, so operating expenses were a little higher there as well. Questions on the month of September? Moving to year to date, then 81 events with attendance of just over 333,200. Susan is pretty good. We're 19 people over budget, so
That's amazing.
she obviously saw that and put some number in there.
Right.
I'm not saying anything's fishy. But we've had total event income of just over $2 million, or about $16,500 above budget. We've had expenses of just over $3,055,000, about $4,600 below budget. So we're through the month of September, a net surplus of $200,200, or just over $96,000 above budget. So still having a good year. You can kind of see the balances kind of coming into perspective. The concert side dropped down a little bit. NDSU will fluctuate now when we're in football season. The theater, we do have one theater event in December, but we also have a theater concert that'll come through in October with the Chris Tomlin show that we just had as well. Any questions on the budget?
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the September financials as presented.
Motion for blanket, do I have a second? Second for Mike. Roll call vote.
Aye.
Yes.
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 All right, thank
All
you.
right.
Past events?
Moving on to page 18 of your packet is the event calendar since our last meeting, which was on September 24th. And we had a very busy October. The football turf mechanical system has definitely done its job. We had the first weekend in October off, which was essentially about the only weekend we've had off from Labor Day to Christmas, depending upon football playoffs. Then, as we mentioned, on October 10th, we had the Chris Tomlin concert in the theater, Gate City Bank Theater set, and as if dealing with a blizzard, late season blizzard in April with casting crowns wasn't enough, we decided to get to deal with a early October snowstorm with Chris Tomlin. Not as bad, obviously. The show went on, everything was fine in Fargo for that Thursday anyways. Then right into NDSU's homecoming versus Northern Iowa. Didn't really think we'd have to be talking snow removal, but our snow removal crew with limited equipment got the west side moved off, and thankfully we had as little amount of snow as we had to handle that, so everything was good there. Had a great game and a win by NDSU. The next day on the 13th, Sunday, FM Youth Athletics was in for about 13 games on that Sunday. They had a couple days of football practice, and then the turf came off the floor again with Miranda Lambert on Thursday the 17th, and then another quick changeover, getting the turf back out and the building game prepped for football as NDSU hosted Missouri State on Saturday the 19th, again with FM Athletics in here Sunday morning and afternoon with, I think that day was only about 8 or 9 football games. A couple of days of football practice inside again, and the football turf came off. We had the big one, Arts and Craft Fair. They moved in Thursday morning starting about 4:30 a.m. and their event was Friday and Saturday. Good attendance, I think anyways. A lot of stuff out there. They used about three quarters of the floor, so about 60,000 plus square feet. So good up to that, and brings us up to today's meeting. And so any questions, comments from past events from board members? As you can see, October has been extremely busy with turf moves and concerts getting over, loading out, and operations staff getting out of here between 5 and 7 a.m. Friday morning after the turf gets moved out, and then comes back Friday night to get the finishing touches on ready for Saturday game day. Moving forward then, as we talked a little briefly earlier today, the production for Celine Dion is actually in doing a short pre-rig this afternoon, early evening. That show will be tomorrow, and if we thought the other days were tough, turf will come right back out, and we'll start high school football games at 12:30, 11:30 public doors, 12:30 football games Thursday afternoon. So there'll be a lot of people working all night, Wednesday night into Thursday morning, getting things out, ready to go, and so that we will have the football ready for kickoff at 12:30 Thursday afternoon for 4 high school football games. Those are the Minnesota sectionals. Then on Friday, we also have another 4 Minnesota high school football section finals as well. Then a little bit of a break right now over the weekend, at least on Saturday, Sunday, and the turf will actually stay down for a while. With NDSU hosting Western Illinois on Saturday the 9th. Sunday the 10th, the NDSU Gold Star Marching Band will have their annual Bands of the Gridiron Festival Sunday afternoon. We will be, Bernie, is that at 2 o'clock?
Performance is, 2 to 4.
2 to 4. Building will be closed in honor of Veterans Day on Monday the 11th. And then on Thursday the 14th, everything will get started to get set up for Dakota Bowl, and we'll have the Dakota Bowl on Friday the 15th, which is the 4 classes of North Dakota High School Football Championships. Doors open at 8 with the 9-man game starting at 9:10 and then running through for the games. The next day, NDSU hosts their final regular season football game against South Dakota. The turf will come out right after that, and we will have the Slayer with Primus Ministry and Phil Anselmo. Definitely right up Blake's alley.
Black t-shirts.
On Sunday the 17th. Right after that show, we'll get ready and start putting down the new volleyball flooring that should arrive hopefully next week. And we will host the North Dakota High School State Combined Class A-B volleyball tournament on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the 21st through the 23rd. Which right after that, FARGODOME will be back again, and I'll be in with the student leaders marking the floor on Sunday the 24th, and that event will be Monday and Tuesday the 25th, 26th, which leads us right into the next FARGODOME Authority meeting. So we continue an extremely busy fall season here at FARGODOME.
Yeah. Is that a hold?
The holds on the 29th, 30th are the start of the potential playoff games.
This is gonna be a bye.
But based off of their current record, it's highly unlikely they'll be playing that weekend.
Gotcha.
And that they will be hosting a second round game on that December
Yeah.
7th?
Couple good
6th, 7th?
financial months, it looks like.
Coming up, you bet.
How long of a process to put down the new volleyball floor?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Never done.
tell you when I see it. It should be shorter. It'll be probably a little different because it's new, but we're not using the underlayment. We got the shock tower one that's got the little pieces up underneath the floor, and these are the 50 centimeter. It's the international dimensions, so it's the 50 centimeter square pieces. So typically, the squares were 12 inches square. These are more like 50 divided by 2 point, how many centimeters in an inch? 2.54, so about 22 inches. So it's a lot less seams, different things. So it should actually be a quicker process. When we were researching and talking to the large events that use them, where they have 22 of these types of floors, but they're putting down 48 floors. They said they get everything ripped up in a couple of hours. So it works pretty good. Any questions on other upcoming events? Anything from FARGODOME Authority members?
Thanks, Rob.
Hearing none, that concludes my report.
All right. Committee reports. Building and Finance met last week. Blake?
Okay, it was a pretty light agenda for us. So we heard the financials, projects, family restroom, mother's room project. Is it completely done now?
Still
he
substantial completion. They're still finishing up
Yeah.
some punch lists.
Nice article in the forum on that. I forget what
Oh, there
day
was?
that was, and nice comments on the future expansion. That was well placed, I think. And then Rob just gave a heads up on possible AT&T contract for antenna in the building. And then I think at the last FDA meeting, we approved a sole source provider request for ICS out of Grand Forks. And then at the finance and building, we approved a capital reallocation for $12,000 for ICS to work on the turf maintenance system. So that was about it. I'll make a motion to approve the building finance committee report.
Thanks, Blake. Roll call.
Yes.
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 All right. Any additional items?
Nothing serious, just looking forward to it. I think there might be somebody in the room who's looking forward to it more than others, but I believe Amanda's returning from her
Nice.
maternity leave on Monday,
Oh.
November 4th, so I'm pretty sure Susan's got a party ready. Not until 5 o'clock on Monday, though, to make sure she actually does show up, but
Nice.
Well, Thank Susan for carrying the water while she was gone.
I texted you once, I did something.
But dealing with Rob is probably the biggest chore, right? All right. If there's nothing else, we're adjourned.